know why the Euro Canary is still sitting on the bench in Alabama. And when the Justice Department, I know you're a friend of Eric Holder, and that you've been there yourself, why is it not being cleaned up by our president? President Clinton did it immediately. President Bush did it almost as immediately. And what is wrong with our Justice Department? Then I have a second part to it.
Okay. That's a powerful first part. Let me speak to it. The reason Laura Canary is still U.S. Attorney is two very simple words: Richard Shelby. Richard Shelby vetoed both of the folks I nominated for U.S. Attorney. Both of them. Sessions actually co-vetoed the first one, and Shelby by himself vetoed the second one. I think that was unfair. I think either Michelle Necrosi or Joe Van Hees would have made a superb U.S. Attorney. That was what I recommended to the White House at the beginning of the year. They followed my recommendations, but as some of you may know and some may not know, by tradition, every U.S. Senator has the authority to veto, to file what's called a blue slip on a nominee from your state, and that's what happened here. Now, there should be a new U.S. Attorney in the Middle District, and there would be, but for Shelby and Sessions. Here's what I wish the President had done. I agree with you, man. I think that the President should have done what Bush did and Clinton did, and to ask for all the U.S. attorneys to resign back in January. And why did that happen? There was a sensitivity that, well, we Democrats complained when Bush fired U.S. attorneys. No. There's a big difference between asking all 93 to turn in their letter and saying, give me a list of the 8 who had played party politics and let's get rid of them. If you don't see that difference, you don't see a difference in right and wrong. So, I don't think that they did it, frankly, the right way. We do have a wonderful U.S. attorney in the Northern District. Joyce Vance is the U.S. attorney who handles Birmingham North, including this part of the state. It is not my place to comment on any particular case, so I will not do that. But suffice it to say, if Joyce Vance had been U.S. attorney over the last several years, there would have been more justice done in the Northern District than was done. I believe that. And there's a young black man in Mobile who's going to be sworn in next Friday named Kenyon Brown. Kenyon Brown is going to be the first African-American U.S. attorney in this state. So that's the best answer that I can give you. And the larger questions about the Justice Department, I see your button, so I know where your sympathies are. I raised concerns about the Siegelman case when nobody else did. Okay? Now, politics is the one place where you're allowed to toot your own horn. There was not a single person in the Democratic Party in this state who had a title around his name who said the word Don Siegelman in 2007. Because they all believed, oh, that's a dangerous place to go politically. I believe that Jill Simpson's allegations were serious enough they needed to be investigated, and that's what happened. So that's where I've been on this. Last point that I will make, of course we need integrity in the Justice Department. That's why we need a selection process for U.S. attorneys that gives us people who are not simply bound by politics, but people who are going to be good U.S. attorneys. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question regarding the recent appointment of a federal judge that I know you had some influence in what happened. And most of us know that one of our own and a good friend, Dan Schwab, was the, quote, candidate of the Democratic Party. Why did she not get an interview or a... What happened?
All right. No, I think that's the question. Why did we not send her now? We didn't veto her, but let me tell you what happened. And I didn't want to spend a lot of time today on this, but since two people have asked about it, we'll get into some detail on it. After President Obama was elected, we had some conversation about how we should go about selecting federal judges and U.S. attorneys. It was my opinion that we needed to have a committee of legal experts. So I put one together. I had a former U.S. attorney. I had 2 former Alabama Supreme Court justices. I had the Dean of the University of Alabama Law School, the Dean of Cumberland Law School, who happens to be a former federal magistrate judge, and I had a former federal magistrate judge. and I had U.W. Clement, the outgoing judge in the Northern District. I asked them to be my eyes and ears. They had an open, transparent process. They interviewed candidates. They interviewed Lynn Sherrard. They interviewed 23 people. And then they got in a room and they voted on the top 2. I didn't vote. I didn't weigh in. I simply moderated the discussions. At the end of that process, Abdul Kalam was the unanimous choice. By the way, he was sworn in this morning. The number 2 choice was a young black man named Rusty Johnson, who's a plaintiff's lawyer in Birmingham, was absolutely brilliant. Both of them absolutely brilliant young men. And I sent those names up to the White House. Lynn is a friend of mine. As you may know, Lynn's daughter worked for me. Lynn's a very good person. Lynn is a fine judge at her current level. She'd be a fine Alabama Supreme Court justice. She'd be a fine federal judge. But I made one commitment in this process, that I was going to follow the process that I put in place. And I think that I'm very comfortable with those results. In fact, I know I'm very comfortable with those results. Now, is that how we've normally done patronage in Alabama? I'll be candid with you, it's not. Let me tell you how we've normally done it. The big donors get in a room with the big players in our party, and they pick the most loyal Democrat. Now, that is a way to do it. I don't think that that is the best way to do it. And you know what I was determined, ladies and gentlemen? I did not want to see us do what the Republicans did. And I don't mean to speak ill of any of my colleagues or any of my Republican colleagues, beyond the shots I took at Parker. But you know how Shelby and Sessions pick judges? They would just simply talk to some friends of theirs in the Republican Party and say, give me a name. I didn't want to see us go that route. So we did something different. And I make a prediction to you. Abdul Kalam is going to be a brilliant federal judge. He's going to be a fair federal judge, and he's going to rule with integrity.